Good morning, this is JW again, and I said I was going to read out of both Bibles. This is the NIV, the Reference Bible. It is April 26, 2020 on Sunday. Instead of starting in the middle of the Bible, I'm going to start from page 1 on both Bibles. If you saw my last Bible, it was reading out of the Catholic Bible, the St. Joseph version of the Catholic Bible, and that was gifted to me from Dieter. It belonged to one of his grannies. It's the large print because I had one Bible and I couldn't see. And then Ed and Diane sent this one for me from California, and it's the NIV version, and it's the jumbo print. And so the print is just a little bit bigger. So that's why, and instead of starting in the middle, I decided to start from page 1. Now on page 1, it is the table of contents, and then I'm going to read you a little bit of the preference. It's not going to take long. It says the goal of the New International Version, which is the NIV, is to enable English-speaking people from around the world to read and hear God's word, God's eternal word, in their own language. Our work as translators is motivated by our conviction that the Bible of God's word is in its written form. We believe that the Bible contains the divine answers to the deepest needs of humanity, sheds unique light on the path in the dark world, and sets up the way to our eternal well-being. Out of these deep convictions, we have sought to recreate as far as possible the experience of the original audience, blending transparency to the original text with accessibility for the millions of English speakers around the world. We have prioritized accuracy, clarity, and literally quality with the goal of creating translations suitable for public and private reading, evangelism, teaching, preaching, memorizing, and literal use. We have also sought to preserve a measure of continuity with long tradition of translating the English scriptures into English. The complete NIV Bible was first published in 1978. It was a completely new translation made by over 100 scholars working directly from the best available Hebrew, Arabic, and Greek texts. The translators came from the United States, Great Britain, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, giving the translation of international scope. They were from the denominations and churches including Angelic, Assemblies of God, Baptist, Brethren, Christian Reform, Church of Christ, Evangelical Covenant, Evangelical Free, Lutheran, Mennonite, Methodist, Nazarene, Presbyterian, Wesleyan, and others. This breadth of denominational and theological perspective helped to safeguard the translation from sectarian bias. For these reasons, and by the grace of God, the NIV has gained a widespread readership all parts of the English-speaking world. The work of translating the Bible never finished. As good as they are, English translators must regularly update so that they will continue to communicate accurately the meaning of God's Word. Updates are needed in order to reflect the latest developments in our understanding of the biblical world and its languages, and to keep pace with the changes in English usage, recognizing then that the NIV would retain its ability to communicate God's Word accurately as if it were regularly updated. The original translators establish the Community on Bible Translation, which is the CBT. The committee is a self-perpetuating group of biblical scholars charged with keeping abreast all of the advances in biblical scholarship and changes in English and issuing periodic updates to the NIV. The CBT is a independent, self-governing body and sole responsibility for the NIV text. The committee mirrors the original group of translators in its divine, international, and denominational makeup, and in its uniquely unifying commitment to the Bible as God's inspired word. In obedience to the mandate, the committee has issued new periodic updates to the NIV. An initial revision was released in 1984. A more thorough revision process was completed in 2005, resulting in the separately published NIV, the updated NIV you now have in your hands, builds on both the original NIV and the TNIV and represents the latest efforts of the committee to articulate God's unchanging word in the way the original authors have said it, that they have been speaking in English to the global English-speaking audience today. Thank you. Have a blessed and wonderful Sunday. Remember, smile is free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it might make someone's day. Thank you. Bye-bye.